The Boer Project continues. I am back in South Africa, this time to investigate the murders and organ thefts related to South African witchcraft. Is reality as disturbing as the stories people send to me?
All the black tribes in South Africa have some sort of traditional practices.
Or is it even worse?
Muti medicine is a traditional medicine. It could be your human private parts, stomach parts. It can cure a lot of things. HIV, it can manage sugar diabetes, cancer. A body part, they believe that it has some kind of powerful magic that can enrich someone else or can make someone invincible. A lot of people are believing it.
The Muti is also all bullshit. It's a fucker that just goes out there and he takes any stupid ingredient. It's just shit. There is just nothing in it that medically can assist you.
A family member arranged a cremation for his loved one, and the day before the cremation he wanted to say his last goodbye. And once they opened the coffin, the head was gone.
Do you think it's possible for us to go with you and meet a sangoma, a witch doctor?
Yeah, it's possible. We are going to Settlement Township where black people live. You can go there with me to meet a sangoma or any witch doctor. In the Zulu tribe, we call them sangoma or inyanga. Other tribes, they are using their different names. In this country, they have a law is on their side. Yeah, the South African system recognize them as traditional healers, the same way as professional medical. Yeah, they practice the same way as medical professional.
So the witch doctors are equivalent to an actual doctor?
Yes, I could say so, because you could go there, they could tell you maybe you have sugar diabetes. They could give you some muti, a concoction to drink. Then they will tell you it will manage your sugar level or manage whatever it is that you have, a cancer or what. It could take it down according to them.
You say that it is tradition, but do people believe in this still today?
There are people who are still believing in this in South Africa. Yeah, a lot of people are believing it.
Even in the political climate, if we're talking within the ANC and the government?
I could say so, because there are some political leaders who have been reported using Muti or visiting traditional healers. Yeah. Muti medicine is a traditional medicine, actually mixed with a lot of things. It could be traditional herbs and sometimes even human parts.
Human parts? What do you mean?
Human parts, it could be your human private parts, stomach parts. They can just mix it with everything, then they can make muti out of it.
And what does this medicine cure when they use the human part?
According to traditional stuff, it can cure a lot of things. It can manage HIV, it can manage sugar diabetes, cancer, but as well they're also using it to enrich people according to that. Quite some other business people are using the same method, believing that a human part will expand their business. A body part, they believe that it has some kind of magic, powerful magic that can enrich someone else or can make someone invincible. Yeah, that's what they believe in. That's why many babies have been killed. They remove the body part, or sometimes they just take the body like that. It's kind of like a sacrifice. They believe that you can become invincible or your business could expand.
So they actually kidnap babies,
yeah,
and take it to the witch doctors?
Correct.
And the witch doctor makes muti medicine out of it?
The witch doctor may make muti out of the body parts.
There are about 200,000 sangomas in South Africa, and nearly 60% of the South African population have at least once consulted one of these witch doctors. But instead of Western medicine, the sangomas will give their clients muti, It is normally a mixture of different herbs and plants, and quite often also includes animal parts, like chicken bones and organs. But when the normal Muti medicine doesn't work and the client needs a stronger medicine, the sangoma could turn to the human body for parts to create a more powerful Muti. This has sometimes put sangomas to cooperate with criminal syndicates to target undertakers for harvesting organs from the morgue. Jan Esterhuisen is an undertaker from the Pretoria region. How come a white undertaker gets so many black customers?
Because they know that the body or the deceased will be fine at your premises.
What do you mean by being fine?
You know, it's been a long time now. You get like Muti sellers, people who sell Muti, cutting off body parts of deceased. So that's a thing that's very big in South Africa.
We heard from a Zulu that it's normal with organ theft to make Muti medicine. Is it something that happens on the cemetery as well?
You know, there has been cases where they dig up the deceased as well, before and after the funeral. Sometimes it's only to retrieve a coffin, maybe to sell it a second time. And sometimes you've got the case where the whole body is gone. Yeah, so it definitely happened as well.
And what experience do you have as a funeral undertaker with these kind of Muti-related crimes?
I never, in my, let's say my time with the companies that I worked for and in the funeral industry, I never had somebody come to me and ask me, listen, Jan, I would like you to remove a head or remove a toe. Some of my colleagues, well, you know, my undertaker the other day, the people asked him for sorry about the word, for a penis, because you get about 25,000 rand for that, if they use it in Muti as well. So from my side, I never got that, you know, somebody came to me and asked me for something like that.
So someone asked your colleague to remove the penis from the dead body?
That's correct, yes.
And what did your colleague do?
My colleague didn't. You know, it's against our policy, and we believe that when you discard a human body, it will be wrong in the eyes of God as well.
Did it open a case at the police?
No, we just left it there because the people didn't come back, and we didn't have names or numbers or anything. So it's, you know, it's randomly people just pitching up at your branch or at your mortuary. And if they say they're not going to get something, they will leave, and they will leave you alone again.
Is it a big problem?
You know, yes, because the people are talking about it. So it's reality, it's things that's happening, and that people don't know of. So if you look at our standard coffins, you will see you only open the head of the coffin. So it's impossible to see from here downwards. And that's normally when the people go and they take off any body parts and selling it for Muti, because you cannot see it. The only thing that you are seeing is the head of the deceased.
That sounds so shocking.
I know, but it's true. Yeah. Even if you look at cremated remains, the ashes, it's been in our newspapers recently, and also we had confirmation from the SAP as well, that the drug lords are using human ashes to mix with drugs to sell it to the people. So at this moment we are busy making a private memorial wall where people can put their ashes to keep it safe from things like that.
The need for private memorial walls is the reason why private neighborhood watches not only patrol their neighborhood, but also include cemeteries to keep the dead secure from the living. Together with the Swedish journalist Ingrid Carlqvist, we joined AfriForum's night patrol for a tour in one of Johannesburg's crime-strife suburbs. The mission? to eliminate crime and grave desecration through presence.
Och vilken spöklik kyrkogård. Liksom, de stod lite huller och buller och jättetätt.
This graveyard is supposed to be a quiet place. Now, the security at the gate don't really care who's coming in and out. There's a lot of places in the fence that is broken where the people can come in and out. So you will see them now while we're driving here, that there's people walking around in the graveyard. And we will show you some of these nisses of the graves are stolen and broken, vandalized. And that is the people that's walking around here. They steal this stuff for whatever reason. But yeah, nobody has got control over it.
What they also do is you will see there would be a wall for all the cremation. They will steal that ash and use it for nyope.
Yeah.
It's a drug.
We're gonna show you.
So you'll see there's
It's a drug?
yeah, there's a drug in South Africa called nyope. They mix it with the blood. They mix it with their blood, and then they use the ash and other chemicals to put them on a high, and so on. So that's the main reason why they steal out of the graveyards.
Oh my god, I've never
Yes,
heard
and a lot of other stuff is also like Muti, traditional healers. They would use the bones that they dig up out of the graves and so on, and sell that or use it for Muti to give them like powers or whatever you.
That's absolutely horrible. I never heard such a thing.
Oh, no, it's quite bad.
Civil night patrols are needed because the police in itself are not capable of preventing the escalated crime in South Africa. Private investigators are needed for the same reason.
Many years ago, I would say, it could be 10, 15 years ago, I once did a very serious investigation into the morgues because there were complaints that came to this office stating that once a loved one, when they went to visit them, the jewelry was gone, and some other people came and said there were some organs or body parts gone. And this is during the investigation now. This was a 2-year long investigation, and I eventually did put a very big thing in the media. I think it was the Pretoria News. It was shocking. We had some live footage and videos that we took at that stage where a lot of the morgues, electricity wasn't up to standard, so there was body fluids oozing everywhere because the temperatures weren't correct. And then when we have a lot of power failures and power problems in South Africa, there weren't backup generators. So there was a lot of rotting bodies all over the place. The stench in itself was horrific. So people never think of this. People never think of going there and finding out what's going on. They try actually and avoid it. But once we sent in a team, Cloak and Dagger team, and did an investigation, we were completely and totally caught unawares and shocked. In the one morgue, the morgue was so full that the John Doe's, dead babies that were found, which is discarded, which happens in South Africa, were in crates next to the fridges. They weren't even processed yet. They were just lying in crates, like you would put a few pumpkins in a crate in that way. But nevertheless, we started investigating these complaints, finding out what's going on, and we have found years later, when we brought this investigation up again just to do a follow-up, that the escalation of mutilization of bodies after an accident has increased enormously. Nowadays, you might be in an accident scene and your penis might be cut off, or your ears, or your eyes. It can happen, and it has happened before, for Muti purposes, or your complete genitalia, especially the genitalia. We have spoken about what they do to babies. Babies plays a very big role amongst the sangomas because of the innocence of a baby, a slaughtered baby, or the organs of a baby, whether it's eaten or the blood poured over you can heal you from absolutely everything and fulfill your biggest wishes and desires. This is how bizarre this is. But we then also found out that even during the ambulance trips, things could be removed from jewelry and expensive stuff. And at the accident scene, as I've said, the expensive stuff would be taken. And sometimes we have found that the ambulance unit might be involved with a tow trucking unit, might be involved with a morgue, and might be involved with the undertaker. And that's why you get situations where there's so much money offered for specific body parts. Make no mistakes, these sangomas are extremely rich.
Around 300 people are sacrificed every year in South Africa so that their body parts can be used in traditional Muti medicine. Most of these are young children, tortured to death. The harvest of the organs is done while they are still alive, because the more the victim suffers, the more powerful the Muti is going to be. These Muti murders and mutilation are referred to as Muti killings and are notoriously hard to prosecute. Many within the police force are hesitated to investigate these witch doctors because of their own traditional beliefs in sangomas and Muti medicine. They don't want bad luck or any other curses cast upon them. We're going to meet a family that has fled South Africa and is now seeking refuge in Sweden because of these traditional beliefs in sangomas. Their daughter was targeted and survived a kidnap attempt, and the South African legal system proved incapable of aiding the family. Why did you decide to move here to Sweden?
For the safety of our child.
And how old is your child?
She's now 5.5.
And what was the safety concerns in South Africa?
Well, my wife was approached by two black guys, to sell her.
To sell her?
Yeah.
For what?
For traditional Muti.
For medicine?
Yeah, traditional medicine.
Yeah. And what were they going to do with a 2-year-old girl?
Well, one of the beliefs is that if they have sexual relations with a child, a virgin, they will be cured of AIDS. And then various body parts are used in other medicines.
Yeah. So you think they wanted to buy her and to rape her to get rid of AIDS?
Well, they said so.
And what did you tell them?
Well, my wife couldn't believe it, and she went to the police, and the police said, "Is the child safe?" And there's no crime. And the two guys kept coming back, and they eventually followed us and sat outside our gate, and when my wife would leave to go to town, they would wave at her.
She was actually snatched. The two men actually did take her out of my mother's arms when we were going shopping.
So the two men that wanted to buy your daughter actually snatched her from your mother's arm?
Yes. And I ran after them, and I threw something at the one, and they dropped her. But I also tore my hamstring when I did that.
Yeah.
But I got her back. And then the police still said there was no case.
Yeah.
And we felt very threatened. The problem is that when you speak about this, people don't want to hear it because it's something we don't understand. Nobody can understand why a child would be valuable for those reasons.
Yeah.
And so nobody talks about it.
And I of course met your daughter, and I must say that she's a very young, beautiful little girl.
Thank you.
But I also saw that she was extremely shy.
Yes.
And a little bit closed up.
She doesn't trust very easily. And it's probably because of us, you know. But she's had a serious problem with sleep since that time. She does not sleep well.
And has she improved when she came to Sweden?
Yes, but it took time. I would say it's only in the last year that she has started sleeping the whole night through.
And what will you do if your asylum is denied?
We've made provision for Australia. We're waiting for those visas, although that's not what we want to do, because then we leave everything that's valuable to us behind.
Yeah.
Again.
And she has friends. She's made 2 very good little friends, and they have a very good rapport. And I think that that's important. I would like her to enjoy that, you know, into the future.
Yeah.
And she thinks very Swedish. She eats Swedish as well. In every way, she's far more Swedish than what we will ever be.
Yeah.
Even has her own dialect.
Which is
Southern.
okay. Nice. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing this story, and I wish you the very best, and I hope that you will be granted asylum, and I hope that you will keep me updated in the process with the Swedish authorities of the development in the decision.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
During apartheid, witchcraft was forbidden under the Witchcraft Suppression Act of 1957. This meant that sangomas and their practice was outlawed. This changed after 1994. Sangomas are today legally recognized in South Africa as traditional health practitioners. Sangomas are regulated and certified under the National Department of Health, together with medical doctors and nurses. Most of these sangomas mostly use roots and herbs for their muti, but belief in the power of organs and other body parts creates a demand for vigorous muti when the usual herbal mixture doesn't work. Desperation and superstition continues this bestial tradition. We are back where we started with Sake Mkisi. He has arranged for us to meet a sangoma, a witch doctor.
We are going to Olivenwoodport, the settlement township where black people live. That's where we are going to meet as a sangoma there. So I used to live there. I have moved out of there due to the job I got, and as well as crime. Crime is too much that side. Yes, there's violent crimes, brutal killings, even necklacing crimes. Necklacing is normally happening. Maybe they accuse you of maybe a crime, house robbery, hijacks, rape, even witchcraft. If someone has spotted you committing the same crime, they can organize some community members to come and necklace you.
So if you are a suspect of witchcraft, the black community could necklace you?
Definitely could necklace you. The black community can definitely do that to you if they suspect that you have involved in someone else's death through witchcraft. They can come and necklace you. Necklacing it's a tie. They put it under your neck, then they tie to your hands and legs so that you cannot move. Then they pop petrol on you, and then they set a light.
And they did this in your neighborhood?
Yes, they did this. They burned someone alive. It's not the first incident, maybe twice or third incident, burning someone alive with a tie. So it was very dangerous for me to stay in that area. So I have moved out.
o ya tlotsa ha ke thome pele ke botsise ntho ya koloi re kgone ho tswela pele koloi e kileng ya tsamaya e ika tsamaya ka makala o bo ka re nna nka berekisetswa dipheko ka tlhakolwa bonna.
So where can you get the traditional Muti medicine?
Tradition o na go tseba re cleansing e diriwa bjang kae le Muti o kry-agala.
No, a ke re Muti ha o batla re a moetsetsa yena wa tsamaya o ile hlapa a tshatsa a bolela tse di batlang ke yena e seng nna yena a bolela tse a di batla a kgona ho tswela pele le bophelo.
She said if you want cleansing, you tell her, then she organize it with some Muti. You cleanse and then you moisturize with some Muti, so that your bad luck will go away.
So get away with bad luck.
Yeah.
Can Muti medicine make you stronger, become an invincible warrior?
Una go tseba re Muti a kere gona le tlhare tse ding o tlo kry-a ba re di dira batho gore ba be strong mo mmeleng, ba be strong gore ba tshabege ditlhare tseo a re di teng ka nnete na
o gore motho a be le seriti
a be le seriti. She said that
tsa gore o tlhomphege wa bona
exist
e seng tsa gore o be bull tsa gore o tlhomphege wena go tlhaela o tlhomphege wena o tlhomphe batho ba bona gore o sephošuo.
Okay.
Di teng.
She said that Muti exists.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can Muti cure AIDS?
Since from 1994.
Yeah.
She's still alive today.
Ba thomileng
Thanks
le
to
bona.
Muti.
Yes.
Yeah. O sa le teng ba thomileng le bona bo botle. A ba sa le.
Yes. So your sister who had HIV is alive.
Yeah, still alive.
Because of Muti.
Yeah. And hadina di ntwa hadilwe. Mara ke ntho e le mo mading e fele.
Okay.
Khona fela go ilaola.
What did she say?
Well, she said that people with HIV can drink this for a long time, just like her sister.
Is there any? Do they use animals in the Muti medicine?
They mix with animals.
Yeah, with animal organs or anything.
Okay. Go mixa Muti o ka diphoofolo
no motho wa newa ke di herbs fela ha una diphoofolo.
Ke di herbs fela.
Yeah.
Oh, she said
ke diphoofolo fela ha una
it's only herbs.
phoofolo mo ke di tswa mo fela ke di plant fela ha gona phoofolo mo.
A lion heart or a rhino's bone?
Oh, she says she doesn't do it.
Okay.
She doesn't do it.
But is there sangomas that do it with that?
Aru ba teng ba irang ka mkhona like ba mixa Muti ka like di-parts tsa diphoofolo madi dio mamang.
A ke tseba ke re bana re di sangoma mara re difara.
Yeah.
Wa ibona ba maybe ba teng a ke tsebe mara o tswana le nna no.
She says she doesn't know what that way, like, she's only doing herbs. Maybe there are some who are practicing that way with animal things to mix with Muti.
All right. Det kändes inte som jag fick ut det jag ville av besöket. Jag vet inte om det bara var språkförbistringen. Men det känns inte som att jag vet mer nu än vad jag visste innan. Jag är inte helt nöjd. Jag sökte därför vidare. För jag behöver en powerful sangoma. Någon som vet vad han pratar om. Hi. Have I reached the sangoma? Yes. I would like to make an appointment. Now, My name is Jonas, and I'm a little bit curious about the Sangoma way, and I would like to ask some questions and see if I can find some knowledge, if you can enlighten me in some areas. All right, so where can we meet?
Oh, I think. Oh yeah, he does have the keys. Jonas,
Yes.
this area here is called Central. Now that we're driving, I'll give you a little tour of Soweto.
Yes, please.
It's amongst the oldest townships in Soweto.
Do you live here in Soweto?
Yes, I live in Soweto. I'll show you the area where I live. We're going to pass by the...
Are you doing this sangoma for a living? Is it your profession?
Yes, that's all I do.
Most of your clients, why do they come to you? What do they seek counseling for?
Most people have issues with relationships and wealth. I'd say those are the priority. Then comes people with illnesses, where they've got a physical illness, and those are the top three. And then I also help people who have businesses, who want to strengthen their businesses, protect their businesses, and so forth. So those are my specialities, if you could say. If I have to take away a negative entity, I will have to use some sort of an animal blood within that cleansing ritual. So most of our rituals are done with the chicken. For us as traditional healers, what does the animal represent when you sacrifice an animal? What is the representation of that? Which is quite simple, because with us, it's that like when I come and take out a negative energy force from you, I need to put it into some other living entity. I cannot just take it out and then it's just here. It means because energy cannot be destroyed, it can only change. That is scientific. So I cannot, that energy that I'm taking out of you, I cannot just let it roam around. I have to put it into something. So the animal is actually it's actually like a hero. It's coming to my rescue. So I take out that energy and I put it into the animal. As an inyanga, yes, you can heal and you can also harm, depending on your disposition. But the minute you start harming people, you are no longer welcome in our profession as an inyanga. You are now umtagat. You've crossed over to the dark side, if I should say. So in a sangoma, let's say, he's a sangoma, I'm an inyanga. As a sangoma, he can't even be going around dead bodies, let alone kill somebody on somebody's behalf. Because if that happens, he has a huge debt, karmic debt, that he's now brought on himself. And just to function, we have to do a ritual to cleanse him, and a whole lot of things that go along with it. So if I'm a person who works with light, I wouldn't want to expose myself to that. But people who work in darkness, they can stay in that darkness and to go to the graveyards and dig up things and everything. But if he has to go to a funeral, coming back from a funeral, there's cleansings just to get away from the negative energies that you find in graveyards and so forth. So we wouldn't want to help people and kill people as one practitioner. You'd actually be very dangerous. It is always about the force, the force of good and the force of evil. And we also believe that there's this thing of Satan created evil and God created good. Those forces exist. They exist by virtue of existence. It's not that the force of evil is created by the evil. It's there. Just as much as there's darkness and there's light, it's there. Our profession as traditional healers, like we say, it's about healing. You can't call yourself a traditional healer and harm people. You are no longer a traditional healer. You are now an umtagat. You are not a healer, but you are a witch. And that, even then, I know that Wicca in certain cultures is actually a positive thing. But with us, if we are tagata, there is no positive tagata. There's only the negative. You are either a traditional healer or a healer or umtagati. You know, you can't be a healer who is a umtagati part-time. You know,
how much of a problem is it with like sangomas that have turned to the dark side and use body parts for muti or go to the graveyards and
yeah, I mean, you know, because we live in an era of people who are desperate for wealth, you know, people desperate for power as well, you know, politicians and so forth. During times of election times, you know, when the politicians need to be elected, you could find some people missing because people are doing rituals to get power. Now and then we hear of some sangoma somewhere was found out having body parts, you know, and then we hear about it. But it's not as sporadic as, you know, you think it.
And those sangomas that use body part, what kind of condition will that help a client with?
So they'll use different parts, a hand, a heart, you know, depending.
Yes.
Yeah, depending on what they want to achieve. But what it is always about, it's about you getting the power to have power over others. You know, if I want to rise in politics and I want to be somebody who's feared in my community, I'll use the body parts to create a muti that will give me fear. When people look at me, they fear me, you know, and they would do that. And others would use a ritual for what they call a money ritual, you know, and then they would create a dark force that would help them to have money. And I wouldn't really, because I was never initiated into dark forces and the use of body parts and all of that. So I wouldn't know the extent at which, you know, what it is they're actually doing with those. But I know that it is always about people wanting power and people wanting money, you know, or to kill somebody. But it's mostly always about money and power that people go and use these things. You can actually use animal parts for that. Like if you are a politician, let's say a business person, and you come to a person like me, I'd probably use a lion fat and whatever, because spirit aura can be transferred from one object to another. You can capture the aura of the lion. You know, the brave. The lion is brave. The lion is this, and I can capture that and I can use that essence for you. But if you want what they call miracles, you know, you are not a person who is gifted to be a leader, number one. You are not gifted in business. You are not gifted in anything. But you want all these things. You want them by evil forces. Then people then work with that. But if you are a businessman, I can give you strength for your business to become stronger. But I don't have to use human parts for it. You know, I can use animal parts.
I heard some like pretty horrific stories of people who have had HIV or AIDS going to a sangoma, and they tell them to rape an infant, a virgin, or to bath in some clean blood.
Yeah, that is no longer a sangoma. That is now umtagat. You see, I think that is where we have a let's make an example. We have doctors, medical doctors. They're all qualified doctors, but there's this one doctor who's harvesting people's organs. You know, and those people, unfortunately, they exist. You know, they will go and do bad things on people. Like there's doctors who say they need to do surgeries on people, and because people will pay them big money, and you find that I don't need that surgery, but this doctor is making me have that surgery, and I have it because I believe this doctor. So in our profession, it is true, there are negative elements, and in any profession, that's why you have professional bodies, because you're trying to monitor and, you know, oversee that when somebody needs to see a traditional doctor, at least they can go to a certain directory and choose a doctor that is qualified, certified, and has been audited, and everything is done. So that's why we also have now the professional bodies. So I'm a nurse. I register with the South African Nursing Council, but I'm also a traditional healer. I have to register with the Traditional Healers Association. Why is water so important to our culture? I mean, water is important, I think, to everybody, because without water, we will die. So if you want to go and get rejuvenation, if you want to get cleansing, if you want to get that, you go to the waters, because the water is sacred, you know. The water was always there and the water will always be there, but the waters give birth to everything. There's nothing that will exist without water, be you plant, be you animal, be you a human being. And so water is that sacred, that water was there in the beginning and we need water to survive. So when we go to the water, we go there for renewal, for rejuvenation, because that is where we come from, you know, particularly as human beings, because we are birthed from a womb where we are grown and manufactured in water. And then we come out as the physical matter, and the water, you know, it's gone, but we are off the water. So that's why even with us, some people, when they get initiated in the waters. So we take them to the water. There's hardly any initiate who doesn't visit water at some point or other in the initiation process. And there are those, though, that go and get initiated in the water. Africa, I can say sub-Saharan Africa, we have the nature spirits. And in all the religions, they have different nature spirits. The personification of the water spirits, the personification of the mountain spirits, the tree spirits, and so forth. So we also have the spirits that we work with. We have Abalozi, we have Amandawe, and a whole lot of other nature spirits.
Ja, så de tror att förfäderna kan tala till en genom vattenkraften, att vattnet håller någonting heligt, och de kan varna en för saker och ting också. Och det sangoma sa att jag skulle passa mig för var att det är någon som vill mig illa och eventuellt skulle kunna tänka sig att förgifta min drink. Så om jag lämnar någonting obevakat så ska jag inte dricka från det utan slänga det. Det var kallare i vattnet än vad det såg ut i rinnande vatten, och det kan vara kanske 20 grader i temperaturen, och då kan det ha varit i vattnet 8 grader kanske.